Ex-mob boss Michael Franchese is busting the lid wide open on the illegal gambling ring happening in sports. Let's get into the news.
Michael, to you, 4 mob families, not your former mob family, involved. Did it surprise you?
You know, the indictments don't surprise me and the activity don't surprise me, but I was kind of surprised. Normally, you don't have 4 families working together like that in a scam, so it kind of surprised me. I was wondering why the Colombos were left out. Either they got smart or they just didn't get a piece of the action. I don't know.
1963, Pete Rose came into the game of baseball. The mob's been around all the time.
Right.
And you're talking about 40, 50, 60, 70 billion dollars. I would argue, Michael, that's why they're working together now.
They recruited me out of prison, you know, to come and speak to all the players, both in the NBA, the NFL, and MLB. And we had a great program that we put together. I'm still doing it on the college level. You know, this year alone, I spoke to a couple of universities, and none of this surprises me. You know, Brian, You got to understand this about Cosa Nostra, about the mob, my former associates. Prohibition was huge back then. We made a lot of money, but it had a short run. It was 10, 11 years. I was in the gas business, defrauded the government out of tax on every gallon of gasoline, had about an 8-year run on that. You know, they come and go. But gambling is always the main business of that life. They love it. They're good at it. They're very resourceful. Athletes are always a target because we can get them sometimes to compromise the outcome of a game. They get in trouble, you know, quite often. I had 12 bookmakers working under me. That's why they recruited me, because they knew I had athletes gambling with me at the time.
My thing about this whole situation is, why are they not investigating the mafia more thoroughly? You don't never see these motherfuckers on TV. They keep showing the blacks, though. He is blatantly telling you that they've been having their hand in illegal gambling for a long time. The man just said they've been doing this shit since 1914. So when is the feds really going to pick up on it? Or do they have their hands involved in this shit also?
Betting and gambling was a big part of your business when you were in the mafia. And in some other interviews, you talked about how you would get sports players to actually fix games when they would get into gambling problems themselves. So can you talk about how these things would sort of progress to the point of them actually shaving points?
Well, yeah, you know, remember this. Let's separate the pros from college kids at this point in time. Because back in my day, you know, 70s and 80s, pros weren't making the kind of money that they make today. You know, back then, you know, they made $500,000, $1 million was a lot of money. But a lot of them gambled heavy. You know, you're making $500,000, you got a gambling habit, you know, it's not a lot of money, especially the way these guys live. So I want to set that perspective up for you. So, you know, I wasn't in the gambling business myself. In other words, I wasn't a bookmaker, but I had